Okay, here we are. Let me just add Valerie. Let's see. Okay, just waiting on Valerie. There you are. Add. Add. Hi guys.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
we've had tech issues. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yay! I'm like trying to like move so slowly.
You're like, wait.
I
Hi
know. I'm like,
guys. Hi everybody. Hi Kim. Oh my God. So everybody, if you haven't met Valerie yet, this is Valerie. She is amazing. Okay. She is
aw.
one of many, not many, but one of like a handful of people that I trust completely with energy work. I am very picky. But
Aw, thank
she is
you.
one of like a handful. Like, I mean, like, seriously, it's like probably like three people that I've ever worked with energetically ever since I came back from my shamanic retreat. And it's Jax, herself, and Andrea. Okay. And so it's
Yay.
definitely something that is to me important to know that for my own energy matches her own. Therefore, there's nothing like weird that happens after. You know what I mean? Like, because sometimes when you get energy work done, so you kind of feel like a little bit weird afterwards.
Yeah.
but I've
Or you
I
don't feel
was,
anything at all.
yeah, and sometimes it's due to the trust thing, so
Mhm.
that's definitely why I believe that's how I am. Where I have like, I need to trust you in order for you to do energy work for me, and then sometimes it's hard for people to even see, stuff like that. So um but yeah, she's one of like three people that I trust with my energy.
Aw,
What's
I
going
love
on there?
that. I love that. I'm the same way. I'm very careful with who I let do energy work on me too, just because of past experiences. For me, like you said, I noticed a difference, and it would be like more paranoid or more. It just felt different. I don't know. And I'm okay if someone warns me, hey, you might be a little bit emotionally raw. Like I expect that because when we're getting a healing work or when we're doing healings on ourselves, we're removing something. So even if
Mhm.
it's something that doesn't benefit our highest good, there are times where it we still feel that disconnect from something. And so part of our like conscious mind is like, wait, something's different with me. And a lot of times if you didn't trust the person that did your energy work, you're going to question whether did I pick up something or like
Yeah, you get
you
kind
just
of
get
paranoid.
paranoid. So yes, I totally understand and I totally get that. Do you want me to share this to a couple of places really quick before
I
we?
I just shared it to your business page.
Yay!
But yeah, you
That's
could
why I
share
made
it
you an admin.
to, yeah, you could share it to whoever you want, as long as it's shared like appropriate.
Yes,
Hi.
I'm gonna share it to the Breaking Free Academy with the
Okay.
girls that I work very, very, very close with. And then I have a couple of other groups
Yes,
that
I'm sharing
I am a
it to
part
my
of. So
groups
let me
as
share there.
well.
Okay.
Kim says, "Lesson learned. I am definitely more careful now." Yes, it's okay because we have to learn these lessons. We have to learn in order for us to understand that ultimately we're the ones that have to take care of ourselves. And our energy and all that good stuff. So yeah, it's a good lesson. I mean, it didn't feel like that, when it happened, but it's a really good lesson to learn.
You know what? It was a good lesson and it taught me a lot about myself. It taught me that I am in charge of my power. It taught me about it never being too late to reclaim your power.
Mhm.
And it taught me to trust my higher self. It taught me to trust my intuition. It taught me to stop second guessing things, even if it is somebody that is supposedly so much more advanced than me, even if it is a teacher, a mentor, you know, it doesn't matter. If your intuition is saying don't engage in something that somebody who has been doing this for a long time is doing, maybe that's not for you. And you got to trust that inner voice that this is not for me. Because a lot of times we're not wrong. You know, we know it in our heart, we feel it. It's repeating over and over and telling us something isn't sitting right, something isn't right. And a lot of times we doubt that. We still play with fire.
Sometimes you want to play with fire. You get
Right, but
tempted,
I
but
love
it's
my
good.
fire. I'm a Leo, and you're a Sag, so I love fire signs. I'm like, and not to say that anybody else's isn't good, because I love all the elements, every single one. But you're hot. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, my energy is really hot. I try to minimize it too, because when I find out that I'm working with somebody who is a fire sign too, I replace the fire energy with water or with air energy to cool it down.
Yes,
It's
yes.
pretty
And I
funny.
learned that technique from you too, which I love. I love that when you work with a teacher or you work with a mentor and they do something and it just clicks and it makes sense, and then you use it and you see this huge difference, like just watching you, like you didn't even have to tell me, it's just I seen you, oh she's using water, oh she's using water, oh she's using water, okay. And then I started meditating on, you know, what does this water do, and then I remember writing it down, asking you, and you telling me, and it's just like, okay, so now when I do it with my clients, once I feel that temperature rise, I'm like, we need to cool things down a little
Yeah.
bit.
Especially that, because I remember the first time that I got like really like intense heat was when I was working with one of my friends. You probably you know her, Farah. She's really like, she's an
Yes.
Aries, really fire sign, you know. And so she was, I was doing some energy work on her because she was wanting to remove some stuff and, you know, and stuff like that. And so I was I started to, as soon as I touched her energy field, whoosh, like flames. I'm like, damn, I'm gonna get burned. Yeah, she was really hot, and I was like, oh my god, I'm sweating. And she was sweating too.
Right?
She was like, oh my god, this is too intense.
I think I've had like 3 clients where my upper lip was
Yeah.
like, you could see the little water deposits. I was like, let's cool down. Take
Yeah.
some water.
Hi, Sam. Hi, everyone. But yeah, so anyway, so we're going to talk a little bit about, you know, mentoring, you guys. This subject has been coming up a lot, especially in the spiritual community, about like, what directions should you guys go? Like, you're gathering all of this information, right? You're reading these books, you're learning, you're observing other people, you're doing your own practice and stuff like that. So what direction are you headed? Are you going to continue to just do readings for people or healings for people, or do you want to teach, you know? Because it's getting to the point where the energies are pushing forward for people to become mentors, to become
Yeah.
of service in that capacity, okay? Because it's necessary for us to empower ourselves as well as other people around us, okay?
Exactly.
And so it's definitely something that has been like a necessity, okay, to empower the community in order for them to trust their own intuitive gifts, be able to assist however they think is best, okay. And there's a difference between empowerment and mentorship and then just dictating, okay.
Yeah.
So that's what we want to talk about, where we are seeing a shift of individuals definitely going head first into teaching their own knowledge to whoever is willing to learn, you know. And this is something that my guides in particular have been pushing me to do. Hi, Elizabeth. Because they said it's time, is that we are at that rising of the guides, okay, the like the actual physical guides here on Gaia, meaning you remember at the core of your your soul that once, like a long time ago, you were a guide, for
Yes.
somebody
Mm-hmm.
somewhere, and
Yeah.
so that's something that it's kind of like it's resurfacing that energy of being a guide, being a mentor, being a teacher. Okay. And so it is necessary because there's a huge amount of energy that's going around that is assisting people to remember, to connect with their intuition, remember to connect with their gifts and where they came from, where they're headed. All right. And that definitely is important to teach methods on how to tap into your gifts, how to enhance them, how to trust your intuition, not only
Yeah.
just in the capacity of me telling you how, like, who you are, what's your energy, and giving you
Mm-hmm.
like an upgrade. No, not in that capacity only. It's for you as the individual to do that stuff on your own, and then eventually assist other people with the same thing. Okay. So that's what we want to talk to you guys about, that there's like a huge influx of information coming in, and trust that that is your knowledge, your divine knowledge coming into your present moment, into your vessel to be integrated, because it's necessary for you to speak on it, to share it with the world. Okay.
Exactly. For me, I know my experience is doing energy work and doing the readings. It became draining for me. It became like to the point where it would take days for me to refill my cup before I could do energy work again. And so, one of the things that I meditated, and I was asking my higher self, like, what could I do differently? Am I doing too many sessions? And mentorship came to mind. I already had the academy, so I was already doing somewhat teaching, but I never offered mentorship. And so it's kind of like, instead of coming to me to do this for you in the mentorship, we do it together. And so every single person's experience is individualized. There is no same mentorship. I don't teach a specific modality to 10 girls at a time or one on one. And here, I'm going to send you these videos, watch them. And then, something like that. This is very much, we cast our circle, we connect to our higher selves, and we say, what is she ready for at this time, or he ready
Mm-hmm.
for at this time? I give them anywhere from 3 to 5 modalities, and I walk them through it. Well, what do you feel? Well, what do you think this is saying? Well, have you considered this? And I walk them through step by step, and by the end of the session, they are amazed with what they were able to do themselves. That is a more rewarding um, way of doing energy work, with not just for myself but for them, for both of us, because I get to see that caterpillar in the cocoon turning into this butterfly, and they're doing it on their own. All I'm doing is saying what their higher self is saying to validate what they already know inside. And so, I mean, it's just so beautiful to not just be taking something away that they could probably possibly put right back in within hours to weeks after an energetic session with me, because we could facilitate and remove, but if they're not truly ready to understand what brought that lesson, or what brought that block, or what brought that dense energy into my field in the first place, then how are they going to keep it away? They're just going to keep mirroring it back when they see other people who trigger them, and then boom, there it is again within a matter of weeks. And it's because they aren't recognizing the things that they need to still work on. And so that's what I really love about individualized mentorship, is that it's so much more than a reading. You do get a reading,
Mm-hmm.
but you also get to learn how to prevent those kind of things from coming back, or catching them before they manifest into something physically. Now, I want to talk a little bit, if it's okay, about my experience today at Massage Envy. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. So I went to get a massage today, and I usually talk the whole time because you know me, I love to talk. But as the girl, told me, get undressed and lay on the table, I was asking my guides, what do I need to do to make the most of this session? And they said, be quiet, don't talk, listen to your body. And I was like, how am I going to not talk? like, hello, she knows that I do energy work and she's a massage therapist. We talk about crystals. Like, how am I going to be quiet? So I was like, okay, I'm going to listen. I'm being tested every day, by the way, by my higher self and guides and the universe and God. And so I'm like, I'm just going to listen. So I'm laying there and I'm being quiet and I want to talk so bad, but I'm just listening to my body. She's working on my calves. And as I'm feeling the pockets releasing, I'm hearing tension from the times you didn't move forward, tension from the times you were afraid to take that step, tension from the times where, and I was like, so this is what your body talks to you and you're still like, and you don't talk, like, wow. She got to my shoulders and there were huge knots. And as she was rubbing and I felt that popping, on my giving side, the rhomboid muscle and the trap muscle was telling me from carrying too much on my shoulders and not asking for help, not delegating when I knew that there were people who were wanting to help me. And the left side, my receiving side, was the times where I took on everybody else's problems. In addition to the big stack that I already had on this side, I was taking in everybody else's stuff. And I had this, here I am, this, you would think I was bench pressing by these knots, boy, let me tell you. So it was amazing. She got to the neck and my neck was saying the times where you should have asked for help, the times where you were afraid to speak your truth and say, I'm struggling. I can't afford this right now. And it was so crazy how for a 90-minute massage, she touched every muscle, even in my hands, every single muscle spoke to me during that session because I chose to be still and listen. And I was amazed. And as I was praying, like laying there and getting the massage, I was like, thank you, God, for this opportunity for you to allow me to be cared for by this beautiful soul who is helping me release this tension inside from, the times where I didn't take care of me. I didn't fill my cup. I wasn't connecting to self-love. So I started praying for her. Bless this woman. Bless her with abundance. She's a beautiful soul. I felt obligated to pray for her because she is doing healing work, but just in a different way. So this is to show that there's so many modalities. There are so many different ways. There's so many of you out there that are healers that don't even realize the power that you have just by your words that you speak, that touch where you're not even saying a word, sending unconditional love to somebody that you see that is in need of love. So many of you are teachers and guides and meant to be mentors. You just have to believe in yourself. And once you do be still and really connect to that inner voice, you're going to know how to self-love, boy, because I self-love today and it was amazing. But I just wanted to share that experience with everybody because I was like on cloud 9 when that happened. I couldn't believe what my body was teaching me.
Mm-hmm. Yep. There's different ways that can happen. Hi, Allison. Hi, everybody. So yeah, that's a very important thing to understand. Good night, honey. Love you. It's very important to actually sit with yourself and listen to your intuition. And somebody had a question about how do we know if we're ready for a mentorship? So, okay, if you are tired of getting this push of working with your intuition, feeling this weirdness around you, but you can't quite understand where it's coming from. If you know that you have gifts, but you don't know how to develop them, if you know that you go to a reader and they keep telling you the same thing over and over and over again, for example, then that means that you're being told it's time to step up your game. It's time for you to learn how to hone your abilities. It's time for you to seek a mentorship if you need it, okay? And it's up to you. It's up to the individual because I definitely didn't have it for a very long time because I kind of was self-taught for a very long time until I had a lady that actually activated my third eye, and because she kept telling me that I was a healer, and I'm like, whatever the hell that means, And so she helped me with she actually took me step by step on how to activate it. And when I activated it, she asked me, I want you to see a certain situation in my life and I want you to see exactly what happened. And she didn't give me any details. I just told her exactly what I saw. And she was like, yup. And she's like, now describe the woman. And I'm like, okay, this is how she looks. And she's like, yes, you got it. And then after that, she told me, you need to start working on your intuitive gifts. So I went and did a lot of reading, a lot of research. I realized that shamanism was my path because I was doing a lot of the stuff that I was being led to do through going into the fourth dimension and creating space to process some souls, you know, and stuff like that. And so all this stuff happened, and then in recent time, then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna actually find a mentor that's a shaman. And I did. I found two. I found one in Arizona, and then I finally found one in Mexico. And so it just fell right, you know. And so when you want to do something, when you know that there's a gift inside of you, you just want to be of service, but you keep thinking, oh, I don't know who I can like trust, or how am I going to do this? Then that's when you start looking around, and whoever you resonate with is not necessarily me or you know, Valerie. There's so many people out there willing to assist you, but make sure that you actually thoroughly go through and observe them. Okay, if you had this weird intuitive gifts, they're like there's like this hesitation with them, then trust that. Okay. But if you still
if it doesn't feel right, if it doesn't set right. I mean,
right.
I know some of my mentors, I kind of questioned it for a while, but mine was more tied into my fear of not being good enough, or my financial situation not being good enough. But it's more like a ugly setting feeling, I think, that you're speaking of. Like something about them is like questionable. If you see ego, like, hi!
It's like right blatantly, it's out there. And you see it blatantly, like just showing its ugly little face.
Yes.
These people post. That's why I always make sure that you observe people before you jump right in. You know, like I'm that way because I have a Virgo rising. I'm an analyst. I analyze everything. I analyze people. That's what I did for 9 years in the military. I investigated people, okay? So I know through facial expressions, through their body language, if they're telling me the truth or not, you know? So it's
wait, hold on. Let me sit up straight. Hold on. No, I'm just...
Wait,
hold. Is this good?
You know, and there's little slight indicators in tone as well, voice tone. And then, of course, seeing the what words they're using as well. So it's just like, you know, I just, I was trained like that.
But I'm the same way, like that you were. Like I did talk to a lady too on the phone who told me that I had gifts. She was like, I told her, I said, I feel like when I get readings, like they can't read me. Like I feel like they can't. And she goes, hun, that's because you're vibrating way higher than they are. So, and I was just like, what does that even mean? And she goes, you don't know what that means? And I said, I was calling for relationship advice. Like, you know, what vibration?
Please
like,
telling me what my higher self wants me to know.
I'm like, what's a higher self? Like, no, really, like I was clueless. I really was just calling for relationship advice. But I was like, why do I feel like they're not, you know, giving me accurate information? Because my intuition was telling me they were wrong, you know? So she was like, that's because you're vibrating higher, so they can't tap into your energy field. But what I'm being told to tell you is that you need to start trusting your intuition. You need to start learning these words. And I was like, okay. So I started doing research too, you know. And then I know some of you have heard my story about my son, but I couldn't afford mentorship, and I didn't know there were spiritual groups online where there are some people who will teach you for free, and just by watching their posts you can learn some things. I didn't know all that. So I really had to trust on that intuition with looking through my phone and whatever I feel drawn to. That was my biggest thing. If I felt drawn to an article, I didn't hesitate to click it, screenshot it if I didn't have time to look at it now. And then also I like to look at a woman's perspective, a man's perspective, a younger author's perspective, and an elder's perspective. And between all four, I would come up with my own way of, okay, well, I'm sure they all have a little bit of truth and a little bit of, maybe their journey tied into that,
Mhm.
because everybody's journey is individualized.
Yes.
But then after a while, when I needed to work on confidence, was when I really um, tied into mentorship with
Yeah.
you. And to be honest, I have like 4 mentorships. So you can't, I don't even feel like you could have too many. I feel like it's not about just one, because Jax teaches me this and you
Uh-huh.
teach me this. And then I have this
Very
lady
different.
who teaches me this. So and so it's, you don't have to just stick to one thing at a time. I like to have a little bit of each. And I feel like for me, I like it that way because I get bored easy. So for
That
me, it's kind of
Leo.
like, oh, no astrology this week. We're doing energy this week. And then, oh, nope, we're working archangels this week. Oh, nope,
Yeah.
we're doing aliens this week. Like, like I'm
Yeah.
totally all over the place. But that's me. That's my journey. That's what
Yeah.
I like. So, yeah.
Exactly. And so there's a lot of groups out there, you guys, like she said, for free that you can join and learn a couple of things here and there. Okay. Just make sure that you get the good vibe from the people that
Mm-hmm.
they're actually wanting to help. Like you get that vibe that they're here to help, not that they're here to control. Like big
Exactly.
difference right
Exactly.
there. That's why I get very analytical. I analyze people like I straight out, like, because that's why I'm getting my psychology degree. I
I feel
observe.
like your mentor should be a positive mirror because we're all mirrors of one another. If
Mm-hmm.
you see qualities in your mentor that you admire, it's not you being jealous and it's not you being envious. It's you really admiring them. But what you see in somebody else, often you possess that inside. You just have to
Mm-hmm.
tap into it. You just have to, really connect to it. So for
Yeah.
you, I admired the fact that you could speak your truth and you didn't care what anybody thought. And you stood up for humanity. If you didn't think that something was right, you could be
I
my
still did
mama,
it,
you
and I
know?
was I was crucified.
Right? That's
But
okay.
I
I was
didn't
at the
care.
bottom of your feet, like, no.
I didn't care. I was just like, well, it doesn't resonate with me, so I'm leaving. It's just, and it's true. Like, be that person to be like, you know what, this doesn't work for me.
Mm-hmm.
Get to that point where you need to take care of yourself, you guys. You want to learn from somebody, but if it's not working out the way that, like, you're not progressing the way you think you need to progress, then it's okay to leave. It's okay to be like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm good. Thank you for all the help, but I'm gonna go this way now because I noticed that I need to do something else on my own. And that's fine.
Yeah, and
There's nothing
sometimes
wrong with that.
we outgrow that. Like maybe your mentor needs to stick to this certain modality because she's supposed to teach those who are learning. But you've
Yeah,
advanced and so now you're ready for the
yeah,
next thing and she
yeah.
can't go up with you because she has to focus on the new people that are coming in. And so there's always reasons why you need to move on to the next phase or the next person or something like that. So you'll know when you're ready for something else.
Mhm.
And if you're a great teacher, you will be so proud
Hell
of
yeah.
your student for succeeding the way that they are. It's not
That's
that
the
they're
whole
rising.
point.
Exactly, exactly. I have seen some teachers, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, but it's not that way. But you're supposed to be proud that they are soaking in everything that you are teaching them. And not only that, sometimes we needed to just tap into this type of thing for a little bit because it is going to play a factor in what we're really meant to do, but that is not what we're really meant to do. We're really
Yeah.
supposed to be doing this. Like I'm getting this strong pull more towards astrology right now, which
Hmm.
if you would have heard me talk in, when did we go to California?
In November.
Was it October?
November, yeah.
Okay, so when we went, they were all talking astrology, and I was over there in the corner like, what the heck
What the hell
are
are they
they
talking about?
saying? Now, if you talk to me, I'm like, oh, that's because you're da 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 da, and you're da da da
Yeah.
da 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 da. And it's like, because that was in there all along. I knew this probably from past lives, and it was just I needed to open that door. I was afraid of the door. It sounded too complicated for me, but now I'm so intrigued and I'm so in love, and I'm like, oh my god, I want to know everybody's moon sign ascending. I want to know where their Mercury is, or
Yeah.
what, like it's. So you're gonna outgrow certain things because everybody's path is different. and explore all the different modalities. Don't get stuck with one thing unless you feel that that is your thing and
Yeah.
it is your passion. Then it's okay to stick with one. You don't have to make it
And
complicated. Like,
always make it your own, you guys. You
yes.
guys need to realize that you need to make it your own, because every single person on this and right now, alive right now, is a unique piece of the universal puzzle, meaning they bring a different frequency, a different knowledge to creation. It's not
Mm-hmm.
everybody has to be exactly the same. Like, for
Exactly.
example, shamanism. Not all shamanic practices are the same, and that's the beauty of it. Not all teachers are the same, and that's freaking phenomenal. Like, I love that about my modality, because I can do things, incorporate my own techniques, my own wisdom that I knew beforehand to it,
Mm-hmm.
and so, and it's that's what I love about it, that I never had teachers who restricted me, because I hate being
Exactly.
restricted.
Yeah.
And so I don't restrict anybody who's in my academy. I'm like, do it this way or
No.
do it another way. However you feel is
Yes.
best for you, you do it the way you think is best, and that's
Exactly.
what I teach with the medicine wheel, for example. There's different, like, oh my God, hundreds of different kinds of medicine wheels, hundreds of different
Mm-hmm.
techniques and how to build one. And so I just give you guys, like, here's an example. But if you are being led to add a different energy to a different direction, then do it. You don't have to do
Exactly.
it the way that I do it. You do it
Mm-mm.
the way that you're being told by your higher self. And so that's what I love about just giving people the freedom to express themselves energetically, intuitively, the way that they're supposed to. And that's the whole point
Exactly.
of teaching a little bit of your wisdom, not to tell people they have to do it exactly like you. No, never, never.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
But to
exactly.
help them tap into something that they might remember, like,
Imagine if we would have left a phone a flip phone and we didn't upgrade to smartphones. Somebody improved it. Like, we gotta do things our own way, whatever feels right. So I don't know. But anyways, I know that was totally through. I was out of nowhere.
no, no, you're fine. No,
My third eye's over here active. It's showing
it's
me flip
growth.
phones and
It's about growth. It's not about
exactly.
remaining the same, and like energy, we tap into energy. It's continuously changing, it's continuously flowing. So why not
Mm-hmm.
us? If we are made of energy, why not, right? So
Exactly.
that's why it's important to learn what you feel is best for you, and
Mm-hmm.
then put a twist on it, your own unique twist on it. That's the whole point of everything here. It's not
Exactly.
about, oh, this is how this person does it, so I have to do it exactly like them, or else it's not going to work. Never do that. It'll work for you because you individualized it, and you were able to tap into your own power, your own energy, and it dictated to you a unique method. Okay.
Exactly.
Tara says, oh, let me read it down here because that one went really fast. Sorry. Tara says, I was in a development group. Before I found you, Ari, in the group, it taught a lot about fear-based thoughts and demons. It scared me so bad that I was afraid to develop my gifts. Okay, so
Aw.
this is a good lesson for you to understand. Hey, your unique perspective on the world doesn't require learning about these energies. Maybe you already knew about them, but you don't have to work with that energy. You can
Mhm.
choose to learn at your own rate, of your own pace, and what it is that you desire to learn that'll help you tap into your gifts without fear. That's the whole point of it, right?
Yeah.
And it's okay to, put it this way. Demons, that where's it coming from? It comes from religion, right?
Mhm.
Shamanism was invented, or was actually done way before religion ever came to be. And so in shamanism, we don't see it that way. We see that there are energies out there. There are neutral energies. There are light energies, they're dark energies, but they're all here to assist us some way or in another form. Okay. And so
Yeah.
that thing with that lesson that you learned from that, Tara, is that you need to trust yourself. And it was not, it wasn't your environment, and that's okay. And that's okay.
For me, my favorite mentors, he does a lot of paranormal stuff because there are some people who they are too afraid. There are some people who they just don't believe in themselves or that they can do it. And so he does a lot of paranormal stuff, like as far as like going to people's homes and stuff. But what he taught me when I first, I was having nightmares, I couldn't sleep, I had PTSD. I mean, I was that afraid of knowing that there were energies that I couldn't see. Or, I could feel them, but I couldn't see them. And so, like, for me, that was really terrifying for me. And so he was like, well, why are you so afraid? They can't hurt you. All they can do is manipulate your mind. All they could do is tap into what you're afraid of and project themselves that way. Mm-hmm. And he says, he goes, we often fear what we don't know. We fear the unknown. He goes, so what I suggest you do is research those YouTube videos or those books that look scary. Buy them, read them. And this is not to put more fear in you, but this is to educate you, because you're going to realize that those things that look scary, they're really not scary at all. And I mean, it took me a good, I would say 6 months, but I did everything. I wanted to be better with my fear. I wanted to not have nightmares. I wanted to get over my PTSD. So I did that. I even signed up for some things that are against my religion, at least so I would say. I even signed up for classes on that because I wanted to understand why they do things the way that they do. Because for me, for one, maybe they're misunderstood. And for two, maybe, like he had said, it's really not that scary. And I freaking learned so much that it wasn't. And I'm not afraid of anything. Now it's like, I ain't afraid of no ghosts. You know what I mean? Like, what you gonna do? But for a long time, it was like, I would shake. Like my hands would literally start shaking. It would trigger my anxiety to this point where I looked sick. Like my face was even like, it didn't look healthy because I was so afraid of the unknown. So if anybody's struggling with fear and PTSD to the point where you can't sleep, you're really, really just afraid, my suggestion, at least what worked for me, because if I could do it, I feel like, anybody could do it, is to research and learn about the things that you're afraid of. And sometimes it's a past life thing. Sometimes it's just a program that, our parents told us, the kukui or our La Llorona, or stuff like that. And so we're like ghosts and we're visualizing La Llorona.
Yeah, because it was programmed, that
exactly.
was the fear that was programmed. And so that's the thing, you guys, is like understanding that energy vibrates at a certain frequency to match something that needs to be revealed to you. Okay. Exactly. It's not anything like, oh, you're gonna, they're gonna harm you or anything like that. Like if you think that they have the ability to harm you, then it's gonna happen. I'm sorry to say this, but that's what shamanism is about, is understanding that you take care of your own mental state. If you think wholeheartedly, you feel wholeheartedly that that these things are going to harm you, or you feel that they're going to attack, then they're going to have the access to do so. Okay. Because it's going to vibrate in that lesson. It's a lesson, you guys. Okay. It's a lesson to teach you that they have no power. They have no power over you. It was just a temporary thing to teach you to vibrate higher and to stop fearing them, exactly. Because they tap into your greatest fears. Okay. And that's how that energy works. Okay. And so, and it's the same thing with people in the physical world are going to come to your awareness if there's some wound that needs to be addressed, especially when it comes to relationships with romantic relationships. I'll give you guys an example. If you have this unworthy, like you feel like you're unworthy of love, then it's going to show up in relationships with other people. And it sucks, but you got to start saying you are worthy, because you are. You don't need to deal with F boys or F women, whatever the hell they are. You know, you don't need to deal with that BS. As long as you heal that within you, you know that you're worthy. You know that you can do better. You know that you deserve unconditional love. No mind games, you know.
Exactly.
And so
exactly.
it's hard, but the more that you do it, the more that you tell yourself, the more that you start believing in yourself, and that you know that you deserve better, then you will stop seeing those relationships. You will stop vibrating in that capacity. Okay.
Exactly. For me, I had this experience, I would say it was a few weeks ago, that you know, when I first started opening up spiritually, would have scared me, but I seen an image of something in my third eye, and I was like, what is this? And it looked really, really scary. And I was like, okay, no. I called in Archangel Michael, and he says, it's not what it seems. Ask questions. So I said, okay. So I started asking questions. It turns out that this was a soul fragment of a little girl who was 5 years old, who was she was abandoned by her mom. And so there was a little piece of her who I felt was drawn to my light, so I could help this soul fragment heal. And so what I did was I started telling her that she was worthy of love. I started, talking to this little soul fragment. I feel like it was just a piece stuck in a dimension. And me being astral all the time, I happened to cross that vibration at some point, and it connected to my light. And so, but when I first seen it, and maybe this soul fragment knew what my fears were, and so that's why I saw a scary face. But Archangel Michael came and he says, ask questions, because it was a soul fragment that just needed love. And my heart chakra is open, it's big. And so I was given this little mission to assist with helping the soul fragment heal, and let this little 5-year-old girl know that she is worthy of love, or at least that little part of her soul that at that age believed that she wasn't. And so for me, it gave me a sense of accomplishment, one, with the fact that I didn't believe this scary face. And then number two was that it allowed me to heal some of the things within me that attracted that. Because obviously I had feelings of feeling unloved at some point, or I wouldn't have been able to recognize that, and I wouldn't have been able to, it wouldn't have been attracted to me, or if that makes any sense. So it being this little 5-year-old little girl, here we are, a lot of times with this age, and we're like, thinking we got to go to war, and it's just this little tiny girl who just needs love.
Yeah.
So I mean, I just thought that was an experience.
If it's your like, if you are ready to assist in that capacity, you'll know. You'll be like, okay, so why is this happening? Like, I'm ready to learn as to why it's happening. And so again, if you're still afraid, then okay, do what you need to do to calm yourself down. Sage, whatever it is, tell it to go away. Right now it's not the right time, like whatever you need to do. It's perfectly fine, as long as you feel safe, as long as you're not in that fear. Okay.
Exactly.
And then when you get out of that fear, when you're like, okay, I think I'm ready to know why this is happening, then that is when you start remembering, okay, maybe this is the reason why. This is probably something within me, that's matching that. Yeah.
And Archangel Michael, whether you're, religious or not, like, he's awesome. All you have to do is visualize his sword and he'll appear. All you have to do is say the name Michael and he'll appear. So if you're afraid, I feel like he is one of the best archangels to work with and call on, because he did help me get through like a lot of my fears, a lot of them. And I was a scaredy cat, guys. You guys have no idea. Like, Chicken Little, you guys would have called me Chicken Little. It wouldn't have been now.
Yeah. I've always been like, I don't know. I've always been more of a person that is just like, okay, what the hell's going on? Like,
Yeah.
I would be the one, you know, the scary movies, I would be the one exploring the dark, like, you know, places.
Right?
I'll be like, all right, who's there? But not say, nothing, hello. No,
Yeah.
I'm sneaky. I'll be like really, really sneaky and quiet and explore, like who's there, you know, like not say anything though. Just make
Mm-hmm.
sure that I
Mm-hmm.
see them before they see me.
But that's what I love about having you as my teacher. Like you taught me to be strong like that. Cause like I, for a lot of the stuff that I do now, I wouldn't have been able to do that without you. There's no
Yeah.
way. Like you really showed me like you've held my hand through a couple or a few times where I that it did trigger that anxiety to the point where I was shaking. And you were able to walk me through that and show me just how strong I really am. And so yeah, that's what I loved about you was the fact that you ain't afraid of no ghosts.
I
I
ain't afraid
love
of no
that about
people
you.
either, motherfuckers.
No, no. And that's what I really loved. You're like, nope, you ain't walking away from your path. I don't think so.
Allison says, takes a lot for spirit is scary. It's the humans that worry me. That's why I'm
Right?
like, I ain't afraid. Veranda Rose says, sometimes when she gets scared, sometimes she gets scared that she's gonna call on an archangel and it's gonna be something else of lower frequency, pretending to be something of love and light. So, okay, Miranda, explore that as to why you feel that way. Why do you feel like you're not safe?
Mm-hmm.
That's the key right there, because it's about safety, right? It's about trust and that you are protected and that you are safe. And so understanding where that fear is stemming from, where you feel, where did it come from? Where did I hear something that made me fear the unknown? Where did I hear something that made me think that I'm not protected by God? You know, stuff like that. And when you start exploring that, you will see that there is an imprint or an actual root cause to that. And it could come from something simple like as you know, you got lost in a store when you were a little girl and you know your parents couldn't find you. It could be something like that. Or you know, or a past life where you weren't protected, you know, and somebody harmed you. You know, it's about healing that. It's about understanding where's that coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Another thing for me that worked was making sure that I said of love and light, you know, at the end, Archangel Michael of love and light, saying that he is the Archangel Michael of love and light. And whether some fake wants to show up, he's going to show up too because he is the real Archangel of love and light and he's going to boot that energy out. So
Yeah, you're
you
like,
can appear if you want
there's
to,
two of you.
but then you're not going to last very long because
No.
Archangel Michael's vibration is really good. When you connect to him, you do get that sense of safety. You feel protected. And you know, you'll get this knowing of little things that you could do to make yourself feel safe. Like you'll call on him and within like a matter of minutes, you'll just, oh, I should get some sage. That's him telling you through your intuition, get the sage, you'll feel better. So he tells you what you associate with comfort. Get the Palo Santo, you'll feel better. So those are imprints that or downloads that he's giving you to show you, hey, you might be afraid, but let's focus on the things that make you feel comfortable instead of the things that you're afraid of. So get your sage, so get your Palo Santo, light a candle, get, you know, hold a sea salt in your hand. Whatever it is that you feel connected to with comfort, he's going to have you connect with those things. Go outside and let the sun hit you. Go and get fresh air and allow anything that's not of my making for the wind to take it away and take it away from my space and it can come back in my home with me or whatever it is. That is him giving you downloads through your intuition. Trust it. And it'll come shortly after you call on him.
Exactly. Nothing. And it's funny because you can even, you know, the difference between a guide who's trying to assist you and a guide who's not. You'll know. Like if a guide is telling you, like really messed up things, that's not a good guide. Or if they're making you feel uncomfortable, or maybe they're leading you or misleading you towards something that's out of your character, you know, stuff like that, then you'll know. Okay, it's about trusting your intuition too, and understanding that, okay, this is coming to my awareness because I feel like I'm going to be manipulated. That's
Yeah.
another thing too. Why do you feel that way? Why do you feel like you were going to be manipulated by a guide? Is it because you've been manipulated before by somebody else, or, you know, stuff like
First,
that?
no,
It's
I'm just
always,
kidding.
there's always a root cause to any type of fear. Okay. What's that?
Oh, I was laughing because you said, "Have you ever been manipulated by a guy?" And I said, "Since birth." No, I'm just kidding. But that's what I'm learning about the whole like weights on the shoulders. You know what I mean? Like with the session today, learning how to speak my truth. And I really love like doing mentorships. Speaking of that, we learn when we're doing the mentorships with the students because their higher self will say like techniques and lessons for them. And then you're like, oh, I never knew that. And then you can do it for yourself too because it's for both of you, or else you wouldn't have been the one to share that information with them. So 2019 for me, it was funny because I did a meditation the day before New Year's and I asked my guides to show me what my mission for 2019 would be. Because I feel like they always change. They showed me a Cupid and I heard teaching people to fall in love with themselves again. And I was like, whoa, that's so cool. But I'm working on self love.
Uh-huh.
So it's funny because I know that I'm going to learn so much from my students because like I said, we all learn from one another. It's this beautiful circle of learning and teaching, teaching and learning. And so I don't even know where I was going with that, but I thought it was awesome to share.
Yeah, no, that it's true, you guys. It's about, and somebody had a good question. They said, I'm new to this. I don't even know where to start. Start with, I would say, start with watching videos on YouTube, like meditation techniques, how to meditate. Number one, right there, because it's
Mhm.
important. And then
Yeah.
after that, learn like what is an intuitive gift, you know, what is clairvoyance, what is claircognizance, what is clairsentience, what is, you know, stuff like that. What is an empath? You know, information like that is like at your fingertips. Or you could do mentorships too, like myself and Val, we have our own like personal mentorships. Or you can join our
Mhm.
groups, you know, our academies where we teach people, like, you know, every week. You know, she teaches her own unique stuff, and then I do shamanism as well as esoteric wisdom, and then
Mhm.
she does healing work, and shamanism is healing work too. Because everybody's like, what's shamanism?
My academy is more mindset. Mine is
Uh-huh.
more mindset stuff because for me, that's like one of the big things was shifting my perception, learning how to unprogram. So for me, like a lot of what I teach in the academy is about mindset stuff. The
Mm-hmm.
mentorships is where I teach more like the healing modalities because I want it to be personalized. I don't want to teach a class where I feel like some of them maybe can't relate. So for me, at least, I like the mindset part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so that's why, like, for me it's more about tapping into certain energies.
Mm-hmm.
With shamanism is you're going back to basics. How do you even set up? How do you even start? How do you protect yourself? How do you feel safe? You know, and
Yes.
there's videos on, and that's the medicine wheel right there. That's exactly what we use to feel safe. It's our sacred space. That's what we use whenever we go and work on people, whenever we meditate, whenever we even go outside to go to the
Yeah.
store. I set up my medicine wheel. I'm like, let's go.
Right.
You know, and so it just helps to know what you're doing, you know, back to basic stuff. And so it's definitely very, like, everything's out there. There's a lot of, so much information out there, you guys. It's like don't, you know, hesitate to explore something that you probably are, you know, wondering about, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like exploring about the archangels, for example. Maybe you're like, oh, maybe I've seen an archangel when I was a kid. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
Google it. I'm gonna Google the color. because that's what I used to, when I was a kid, I used to see colors, like shades and colors and shapes. And I'm like, I wonder
Yes.
which one it was, you know? And then I would just Google it, like, oh, it's this archangel, you know?
Mhm.
So yeah, that's definitely, it helps. It helps, you know. And of course, you, again, myself and Valerie, we have information as well. And you'll get a lot of information. Here's this, here's this, here's
Mhm.
just kidding. It's just based on your higher self, what the higher self dictates as well.
Exactly. And so that's what I was saying about it's okay to have different people, like, because with you, like, maybe they are ready for like the shaman stuff, like doing the healing work and learning about the protection and doing all of that. And then with mine, you know, I'm talking about like the vibrations and knowing when you yourself, because I feel like accountability is a big one. So that's what I teach a lot of in the mindset in my Breaking Free Academy, because a lot of the boundaries, a lot of our limitations, they come from our minds. It's
Yeah.
in our minds. And once we learn to unprogram that, or you know, we can change those boundaries, or it is limitless versus limiting ourselves. Then we can be even better healers, and even better, we could even heal ourselves in a more intense way. So you don't have to do one or the other. I feel like it's awesome to have several different people, because you're going to get this knowing of, you know what, this is more of this. And you'll be like, I'm going to go over here for this. And then, oh, this is more of this. So I'm going to go over here. It's good to have a variety. It's good to have an option instead of just one mind or perception. You know, I like that um, we all have our own way of doing things, and you can take a little bit of each person and then make it your own, which is why when I do research for myself, I like to look at a male's perspective, a female's, an older woman, and a younger person's, because then I could say, okay, what do I think and what works for me with my personalities? Because remember, even in astrology, we all have different personality traits.
Yeah.
So there's so many aspects that tie into it.
Yeah. Miranda is asking about if we see wiggly static energy. Well, for me, when I see static or wiggly, like kind of like electric looking, to me that usually is an elemental or a nature spirit. It usually has to do with one of the elements. Really does depend on how it feels, or when I'll give you guys an example. I could see molecules. Like if it's kind of hard for me to concentrate. If I look at something for like a split second longer than normal, like right now, that wall is moving. You know, it's moving, and this is moving, and that's moving. You know, and that's
Mm-hmm.
just my third eye telling me, okay, this energy is alive. You know, this is
Mm-hmm.
actually sentient. This is actually molecules are actually energy. And so it's kind of like it gets to the point where I have to concentrate to not see that. Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, I'm gonna walk into it. It starts getting
Yes.
bigger, like wider, like expanding.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm just like,
And the
so
higher
yeah.
you vibrate, the more intense it is
Yeah.
too. It's like you're sitting in the bathroom and the wall is like swaying
Yes.
in front of you, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I need to
Yes,
ground.
Miranda.
I
So
need to
yeah, we're
ground.
seeing the molecules. Yeah, that's what it is. And so it's nature spirits too. So that's what
And
they're
for
showing.
me, I see like a lot of colors too. Like I'll be talking to somebody and then I'll see boop, a flash of
Yeah.
purple right here, or I'll see like boop, a flash of blue. I'm like, Archangel Michael's here for you.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah,
want to
you
know what
see
he
a
has to
lot.
say?
Yeah.
You know, or sometimes I will look um, at a wall and I could see the aura of the wall, the
Yeah.
energy there. Is
Yep.
it clear or is it kind of smoky? Do I need to sage? Do I need to, you know, so you could see a lot of different colors too. So it's
Mm-hmm.
really cool. I love it. Unique.
Yes, Miranda. Yep, you're seeing them. But yeah, because the reason why I know that is not my imagination is because I got my eyes checked thoroughly in the military because of it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was going like blind or something, or like I had cataracts or stuff like that. I was just like telling the doctor like I don't know why, but I've seen all this stuff and blah, 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 blah. You need to check my eyes.
I remember being a little girl, like a little girl asking my mom if she's seen all the molecules in the air, like,
Uh-huh. I
and
was like, what do
she,
you see
do
all
you
these
see
little
all the little, do you see
bugs?
all the little white things everywhere? There's thousands of them. There's thousands of them. And when you blow, they move,
Yeah.
like, and then my mom is like, "You mean lint?" I'm like, "No, because we're
No.
walking outside." And you see so many more when you're outdoors versus
Uh-huh.
inside, especially if you're like meditating and walking at the same time, kind of like in your own little zen world. And then it's like thousands, like, oh, it's so beautiful. But I think everybody could see them if you really try to focus,
Yeah, if
stop,
you could actually do it,
breathe.
like you could actually focus your third eye into seeing them. Anybody can see it. Anyone can. It's just for us, it's just more like active there, like what's going on?
You know what I
But
noticed for
anybody
me is
can.
when I'm using my third eye, my eyes kind of cross. Like they go, like, I don't know how to explain it. So it was funny because I was like doing a reading. I noticed my eyes were kind of crossed. Then when I was meditating, I was like, are my eyes crossed? And I'm like, they are crossed. So for me, like, it's weird. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. So it's funny. It's funny. It's funny. But yeah, you guys, if you guys are ready for to get yourself out there to be of service, do some research, like read a book about whatever it is, the subject that you are being drawn to read about, even watch videos regarding this information, or even do a mentorship. You guys could join my academy or Valerie's, or you could do a private mentorship with me or Valerie, whoever you resonate with. I know Jax Atlantis has his own group and mentorship program as well. And I think who was the other one? The Allison has a lot of things too. Allison Capuchilli. She has her own group where you could actually get really readings, or you could get like some information from her too, watching her videos. She has a lot of information she gives you. And so it's just, there's so much out there, you guys. It's just up to you to decide when you're ready, when you get that push. Because it's like
What
this
do you
week.
think about teachers who are limiting their students?
Oh, okay.
Who,
So
yeah.
yeah, so what I have found, and I was lucky enough that it didn't happen to me, but I've heard it so many times from other people, like before they came to me for mentorships, or the academy and stuff like that, where there's teachers that they went to beforehand who were limiting them. They
Mm-hmm.
knew, the teachers, and the teachers are very good at reading people, but they knew that they were going to surpass the student was going to surpass them. So they started limiting them by instilling fear, by instilling tactics of like cutting them down and stuff like that. So it's very important for you to understand that there's a lot of people who are teachers out there who want you to remain at a certain level because they don't want you to surpass them. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's, to me, that's a big no. That is not how we all grow together. We are here to grow together. We're here to assist each other in growth, and we're here to also help the entire planet,
Yes.
all of this, all of it, to ascend. So why would we limit our brothers and sisters,
Exactly.
because of some fear of lack that we have? Maybe they're, oh no, they're surpassing me, so they're going to take all my clients, or oh no, they're
Mm-hmm.
surpassing me and they're going to make me look bad, or just silly
Why are
little things like that.
people so competitive? Why are they so afraid of other people growing? Like there's so many people in this world. I feel like there's always going to be enough for
Yes.
everybody. There's abundance for all. So
Yeah.
why do you think there are so many spiritual mentors and teachers who are afraid, like they only teach their students to a certain extent, and then they kind of like limit them after that. Like once they see
The potential.
the potential. Exactly.
I think it's fear. I think it's fear of being left behind, because the teacher themselves is probably not growing. They probably not. They're probably not taking care of themselves. That's
Mm-hmm.
what it usually comes down to, where if you are growing just like your student, you won't be mad at them because they know more than you now. You won't be
Mm-hmm.
upset with them because they're doing better. No, you're going to grow with them. You're not going to be like, oh, poor me, I taught them everything they know and now they are leaving me in the dust. That's not how it's
Exactly.
supposed to work. It's about growing together, learning from one another, not just only you teaching. You learn from the student too. It's vice
Exactly.
versa. It has to be balanced. It has to be harmonious, the relationship. And so
Do you think that
when that
they're
happens,
possibly not doing it for do you think that possibly some of these teachers are not doing it for like teaching, they're doing it for the financial gain?
I believe that there's some people who might have had the good intention in the beginning to teach, to want to teach, but then after a while they've gotten burned out and they need to quit
Mm,
and need to take care of themselves, and then all they're thinking about is their finances. And so that's where you start going into the fear of lack. The fear of lack is the worst thing ever. I've noticed that in this community, is they feel that they cannot cheer you on if you are doing better than they are. and
mm-hmm,
and, and whose fault is that? The person's fault. It's not the people who are succeeding's fault. No, it's the person
mm-hmm.
who remains stuck because of fear of lack, because they think
Yeah,
that somebody else is taking from them. And that's not even how it works. Everybody
exactly.
has the ability to tap into the flow of abundance, the universal flow of abundance and prosperity. Everybody has that initial right, because we are creative force energy, we are creator here. Everybody has enough abundance, and it's just when it comes down to the ego mind telling or manipulating the person into thinking that they're getting left behind, or somebody else is stealing their customers, or oh my god, my business is flopping because of X, Y, and Z person. That is when you know that they're still lacking. They're still feeling
Mm-hmm.
like they don't have enough.
I think it's a shame. It makes me really sad because I've experienced that a couple of times. And for me, it was just kind
Me
of
too.
like the first couple of times I felt really bad because I looked up to them, and I wanted them to be proud of me. And it was kind of like those times where you win a game and you're like, oh, I won a game, and you want your family to be super proud. And they're like, oh, okay, good job. Or they don't, it just felt really, it didn't feel good. It made me feel kind of like here I am supposed to be feeling proud and accomplished, but I can't even enjoy in this moment because the person who should be proud of me isn't
Isn't,
being proud of
yeah.
me. But now I had this experience recently and it made me feel actually like I turned it around and I saw it as wow, they must see so much God, why can't I think of the word?
Potential.
Potential. They see so much potential in me, and that's where it has to be coming from. And so if anything, I should be proud of myself. So and it's not to like be an ego thing or a cocky thing, but I could do one of two things because God always says you have a choice. I could sit here and be sad and be low vibe with the teacher, or I could choose to see that I'm not going to limit myself. I'm not going to stop my growth just to make you comfortable. I'm
Yes.
doing this for me. And I know for me, every time I meditate and I talk to God and I ask for things and I talk and I share my feelings about my growth, he always tells me dream bigger. Dream bigger.
Exactly. You should. Everyone, don't limit yourself.
Exactly.
You want that, like, you want to be successful. You want to be successful. You will be successful. And the
Hmm.
first thing to do is remove that fear of success, remove that limiting belief that you can't do something, and tell yourself, hell yeah, I can.
And get away from people who aren't supportive of you. Like I had to make a post recently on my own personal page that, if you're where I'm at with my spirituality right now, it is vital that I am around people who are supportive of me or don't say anything at all. You don't have to cheer me on. I don't expect you to grab your pom poms and be like, woo, you know, I don't expect that. But I don't want to feel mockery, and I don't want to feel judgment, and I don't want to feel all those things. So for me, it's like toxic people fall away. Or, you know, if you feel like what I'm doing is so wrong, then it is okay to be different. It is
Yeah.
okay to stand in your beliefs. I'm proud of you for sticking with your beliefs. Like, I don't judge you for not supporting what I do. Like, if anything, I'm proud of you for following your heart and saying that is not for me. For whatever reason, maybe you haven't experienced some of the things that I've experienced. So that's a big one too with coming into spirituality, is having people who don't understand. And I have to teach this a lot of times because I have so many students that say, you know, my husband is not supportive. He doesn't understand why I'm changing, and like he liked the me that I used to be. Or you know, for me, my family, my brothers and sisters and uncles and aunts, it's kind of like, here I am talking about these things that I never used to talk about. And at first they kind of laughed and joked, and I'm like, okay, they're gonna like try to admit me into a hospital or something. And then now they're so supportive, but not everybody's going to be. Not everybody is going to understand where you're going, why you're so committed to this mission or this new lifestyle. And all you can do is pray that one day they get the same desire to fall so much in love with themselves that they want to learn every little piece of their soul, the depths of the soul,
Yes.
including the shadow, including the parts that we don't always like to see within ourselves. And not only in this lifetime, but in previous lifetimes. And maybe even get little, we're lucky enough to sometimes be shown our future lives and what they're going to be like. And so I think it's a beautiful, beautiful journey. I don't judge whether you want to be spiritual or not. But guys, if you are um, feeling that way and limiting yourself because of other people, sometimes it's best to just kind of like go your own little way for a little bit. It doesn't mean that you don't love
Take a
them or
break.
they don't love you.
Yeah, you can take a break.
Yeah,
You
take a
know,
break.
it's nothing
Exactly.
wrong. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, you know, I don't feel good when I'm around X, Y, and Z person. Like, I don't feel
Mm-hmm.
good, and you shouldn't feel guilty for it. Okay, it is your feeling. Like, it is telling you, hey, you need to recoup. You need to take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so it's okay not to go visit them. It's okay not to text back, let them know, hey, I'm busy right now. I'll get back to you when I can.
Yeah.
Take time for yourself. It's okay to do that. Don't feel
Mm-hmm.
guilty for doing it, you know? And so, and with family members, you know, that's one thing is like, I always tell people, it's like, yeah, they make fun of you right now, but
Uh-huh.
you will see the more that you say, I don't give a shit. I'm going to
Yeah,
do what I want, and I'm going to do it because it is helping me
exactly.
heal. It is helping me seek more understanding of who I am and connecting to
Mm-hmm.
God. It's a good thing.
Exactly.
It's, you know, it, the more that you do it, the more that you're gonna see that they're gonna come back and they're gonna be like, hey, can you help me with something? You know, it's just gonna fall into place.
Yes. It's so funny because like at my family gatherings, I'm sitting there and there's like a circle of them and they're asking questions. Well, what does this mean? And what does it mean when this happens? And for them to be so skeptical at first and now they just want to know more. I mean, I could have conversations with my brothers for hours about these things, these deep, deep, deep conversations about our soul. But for a long time in the beginning, it was kind of awkward. I would talk about something and I could see them kind of like look and be like, yeah. And then, you know, get up and walk away like this isn't my conversation. But once people start to see the shift in you, they want to be happy too. How do you not let that bother you? I want to be happy too. How do you, like they see this shift in you and so they want that for themselves too. And then you'll start to see people who were kind of like mocking it or maybe not understanding or not supportive, they start to become a little bit more open-minded because they see such a huge difference
and
once you start to love yourself.
and the way that you
Truly love
act, the
yourself.
way that you handle things, you know, it's so funny because my sister told me the same thing. She's like, oh man, like, I mean, me and my sister had similar experiences as kids, because we lived in the same room. We slept on the same bed, and she could hear them and I could see them, you know? And so she didn't like exploring that side because it's scary to her, because she could just hear people breathing on her and talking to her, you know? And so she's like, oh my God, you know, because she can't see. So she's like, oh, you know? So, after I told, you know, I started giving her like tarot readings when this was like, I think, God, I was young when I started doing tarot. Like I had like a kit, but then after a while I was like, I don't really like it. I'm going to move on to oracle cards, because I like how oracle cards look.
Yeah.
So I used to do that for her, and she used to tell me, she's like, remember what you used to do tarot for me, you crazy girl? And I'm like, and then I was teaching her how to like, you know, like meditate and stuff like that. Now she's really into it, and so it's definitely very, very different. And I even see that my cousins are following me on Facebook, they're following me on Instagram, and all of them, I swear to God, you guys, we all grew up together, we were really close, and we all had our gifts. We all had our intuitive gifts as kids. You know, we would see things, we would feel things, and now that they're adults, they're like, remember that time when we saw this? Remember, you know, it's pretty cool to see that coming back to understanding that, hey, we are a powerful family. You know, we have gifts to help people, you know, heal and stuff like that or whatever. And so it's definitely a good thing that it's kind of like they're transitioning back to that memory of hey, I used to do that too. I used to see that. I used to experience, you know, and and they're not afraid.
All along. See, my family is the total opposite. Like, none of us were ever in tune to any of that. I think that we all turned it off very, very young, or chose to ignore it, or were programmed that what we were feeling or seeing wasn't real. But I've noticed that since I am open to all of this now, my brothers are starting to experience a little bit more too. And I'm pretty sure like the cousins and other people will too. So it's funny how it's kind of like that domino for the families who maybe didn't grow up with their gifts. Like, you know, one person opens up to it, and then all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom.
It's like exactly, like a little, like a ripple effect. Like you like throw a rock into the pond, and all of a sudden, you know?
Yes, exactly. I spent the night at my brother's house. And I was talking to him, and I kept telling him, you have this flash behind your head. Like, you have this angel that is just keeps flashing. It wants me to tell you that it's there for, and he was like, well, how do you know? And I said, it's like a flash. I said, you know how when you look at the stars in the sky and they twinkle, like a twinkle, twinkle little star? I said, well, that's what it's like, you know, when sometimes the angels will show themselves that way. And he's like, what? So I go sleep downstairs in the living room, and then my phone starts ringing, and I said, what, are you afraid? And then he's like, no. I closed my eyes, and I swear there was this twinkle, like I saw what you were talking about. And I'm like, I know, it was letting you know that you're not crazy through me before it was going to reveal itself to you. But he was like, oh, I can't believe it. So we ended up talking another 30 minutes, 40 minutes on the phone while he's upstairs and I'm downstairs. But yeah, it's crazy because like he was able to experience that shortly after I even said it. And I'm like, you probably have been able to see it all along, but you were ignoring it or not paying attention. But because I brought it to your awareness, now you're like, twinkle, twinkle, little star every 5 minutes.
That's funny. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Hilarious.
But yeah, you guys, if you guys are interested, again, there's so much information out there. You come to my website, www.StariAri333.com, to check out the mentorships that I have, or even sign up for the academy where I teach shamanism and esoteric knowledge. You go with Valerie and Live Your Light. Is it readings and guidance?
Valerie, or I don't even know my own business name. If you look up Live Your Light, Valerie Elizabeth, you'll find it.
Yeah. And she has options for mentorships, as well as joining a group, you know, to teach you guys, you know, how to like understand pretty much what the hell's going on.
Yes. I do teach about the archangels, your energy centers, how to listen to your body, how to connect to your higher self. But a lot of mindset stuff, like how to focus, how to be still, how to stay in your own lane, how to stop absorbing toxicity from your friends and family. And like, there's a lot of different things that I teach them, relationship advice, how to communicate with your partner, like a bunch of different stuff. Is it
Yeah.
okay if I pull a quick card for the collective?
Yeah, let me just finish. And you
Oh,
can
okay.
also check out Jax Atlantis, just like how I said JAX and then Atlantis. Check out his business page. Even his he has a website that's just like that, www.jaxatlantis.com now. And you check out what his mentorships are as well. There's a lot of he teaches a lot of tarot, a lot of like astrology, as well as focusing on how to harness your clairs and other awesome techniques
Remote
that he
viewing.
yeah, remote viewing, stuff like that. And then if you guys are interested in actually doing the shamanic stuff, I have a pinned link with my mentor's information on there. He's going to be teaching La Semana Santa, which is the Holy Week in Mexico, about shamanism, and I highly recommend him. He's awesome. He's just like me. He's really like, not like but like
Yes,
he'll
I
give
don't
you
know if you guys
information.
don't know, but when she came back, she looked like J-Lo. She had that glow. I was like, who is this teacher? How do I know him? How do I get to know him?
Yeah. So he teaches. So he gives you the subject matter, and then he lets you do it the way that you think is best. Like if you have questions like, oh, how should I start? He'll give you, as long as you ask for it. But he's not one of those people who are pushy either, and so that's
Yes,
why
baby.
I love
Almost.
him. So yeah,
Right?
that's definitely, if you guys are into that, if you guys really truly want to follow that path, I highly recommend him. It's Daniel Stone, and there's a actual pinned post of all the information. It's like very detailed information about this coming shamanic retreat for this year. So yeah, so go ahead now.
Awesome. I'm excited. I can't wait to see that J-Lo glow on you again. I was like, dang. And it took weeks for it to go away. I was like, well, not that it went away, but you know what I mean? Like you were like white, like this big white light around you. I was like, oh my gosh, it was beautiful. It was so beautiful.
Thanks.
Ooh, okay. So this card popped out for the collective, which is, I feel like this is like kind of like our card. I don't know if you could see it, but it is the Knight of Wands. The Knight of, I mean, she's the King of Wands.
King
I always
of
call her the
Wands. That would
King
have
of
been
Wands.
better. Just kidding.
But they all represent the same kind of energy, but different phases. So I feel like what this card is saying is right now it's really important to be bold and be fearless. When you think about a knight, the king gave the orders on what should be done, but the knight is ready to take action. He's ready to fight that fight. He's ready to move forward fearlessly. He's ready to move forward bold. And so what this card really says is do what you love, because the wands represents passion, spirituality, your career. It's like what, you have that passion for this thing. Do what you love, regardless of what other people think. The knight knows that people are going to have their opinions about his battles. They might say that he's going to lose. They might say that, oh, you're going to win. But he takes what he wants and he just goes after it. He's not afraid to move forward. Another thing, let me look at the card and see if it speaks to me. Oh, it's time to trust and integrate. Okay, because when you think about a knight, he was a student first. He didn't just go into war and go into battle. He had to learn about other people's techniques, the tools that he needed to use, whether it was going to be a sword, a bow and arrow, how to ride the horse, how to, there's so much that he had to learn as a student first. And so now that he's this knight, it's saying don't forget to integrate all that you have learned. Don't forget to use the different tools. You don't have just your sword. You have your bow and arrow. You have your horse to help you get away, to help you move forward. The horse is white, and it represents our spirit guides, that pure, high vibrational spirit guide to help us with movement when we're afraid to move forward. Listen to that intuition. Connect spiritually to your higher self, and don't be afraid to be fearless, bold, and go after the passions of your heart. So, woo woo! I love that card.
Yay! Awesome. Another thing that I was gathering is because I don't know if you guys watched my videos for this week. It's about movement, you guys. It's about forward, moving forward, making your choices now. This is the prime time right now. I'm not sure if you guys follow David Palmer. He's the Leo King. He had Deep Astrology on Tuesday, and he tells the same thing. Like, tonight to this week, this energy, you need to make a change. You need to choose your happiness over everything else. You need to choose.
Yes.
You need to actually take action. Now is the time, because right
It
now
is.
what you're doing is you're setting up that energy for the rest of the year. And so everything that's coming to you, your abundance, everything, your success, has to be dealt with right now. What it is that you really want and what direction you're going. Time
Yes,
to
I
think, time to
agree.
take action.
I love how it all goes together. I love how
Uh-huh.
it does go with your message. You know what I mean? Like that's so so empowering. Validation all day.
Yeah. I'm like, yay, everybody.
I'm ready to grab that wand and be like, what? What? No, just kidding.
All right, you guys, thank you again for watching and being here with us. We truly appreciate everything you guys are doing for yourselves. And remember to continue to do it. Self-nurturing is the key,
Yes.
and understanding what you really want out of life as well, okay? Don't hold back.
Exactly.
Don't hold back. If you want that new car, you can get it. If you want that new job, you can get it. If you want that new place to live, definitely can get it.
Yes, dream
Don't,
bigger.
yeah, think big. Think like
Exactly.
you deserve it. You deserve everything, okay?
No
Everything that
jet
makes
ski.
you
We're going for
happy.
the yacht.
We're going for the yacht. We're going for 10 yachts, you guys. Kidding. All right, you guys, thank you again for watching. Love you guys. Bye-bye.